Hey guys, welcome back to my shop. It's another loud day here, and anyway, I've got this neck from Jet City that needs the deluxe fretwork, and it came to my attention. I've been watching some other guys that are pretty well known. I've been watching their videos on what they do to do a good fret level crown, and I'm doing it different. And there's a couple reasons and things behind that. And I'll take this to totally the next level. So I'm gonna document what I'm doing and show you my secrets, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you send me your guitar necks, because this is going to take everything to the next level. All right, hope you enjoy it. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. Okay, um, in the past, this file would have been what I would have used, and you'll see this in all the other videos. You run it up and down the fingerboard, and the file takes off the average of the frets. That's fine, and it actually works, but there's something that's better, and that's what I'm going to explain. So this is gone. Another thing I'm going to get rid of is this. This is a handy tool, and it has great uses. It's a fret rocker, and it spans 3 frets, and if it rocks, the middle fret is too high. So now you have some information to work with. But the neck has, what, 20, 21, 22, 24 frets that we got to take care of. And so with this, we only know what 3 frets are doing to each other, but we don't know what fret 1 and fret 12 are doing to each other. We don't know what fret 1 and fret 20 whatever are doing to each other. So we could still end up with issues. And so I devised a different method. So I'm not going to use this anymore. The method that we're going to use involves a straight edge, okay, and a light. And we're actually going to balance the straight edge along the neck, and we're going to look under, and we're going to see every single relationship of every fret all the way down the neck, and we're going to do our job using that information. Therefore, we do know what's going on between fret 1 and the last fret, and they're going to be perfect. And instead of a flat file, we're going to use a radiused block, okay? Because if you use a flat file, you don't know what you're doing to the radius. You're guessing. This is actually going to help correct any imperfections in the radius. So we're going to take care of multiple things all at the same time. And it turns out much better than the old way. And the last many that I've done with this method, the owners of those guitars are blown away. They can't believe how well the guitars play. And it just all makes sense to me. So I'm happy to share this with you. And I also want you to share this with all of your friends. Our guitars can play so much better. Anyway, on to the next. Okay, this next part can be a little tricky, but bear with me. So when we are checking the neck using the light and the straight edge, you want to cover at least 3 zones. You want to check the center line of the neck, and you also want to get approximately the outer strings going along where the string would go as your reference points. You can check as many points as you want, but make sure that it's following string path. And I've diagrammed it out using a Sharpie roughly on the neck here. Maybe you can see this. they're not exact. I know the middle one is off because I actually had the bar on the middle, but you get the idea. You want the different zones. So, you know, this is kind of the example we're talking about. You want to hold it, you know, on these zones to do your checking. And before you cannot adjust the truss rod good enough. I mean, get in there. I mean, you can, but triple check your work. You know, like get in there and adjust it until it's as flat, till you get the most consistency absolutely possible before you start. And lastly, when I do a neck, I like to put fall away into it, which means down here at the tail end, starting about where the heel is on the body, I want the frets to go lower, kind of like a down ramp towards the body, because I feel like you get the best action, the best playability that way. On a neck that's totally flat and totally straight, after you adjust the truss rod, oftentimes you've created a hill down here that the strings have to get over, and a lot of fenders have that, and they're very buzzy down there, and I end up fixing a lot of them. So we'll just do it from the get-go, and that's my recommendation. Okay, I know that this camera is not showing you what I want you to see, but what I can see is that several frets are touching and several are not, and I've got pretty much the average that I think is closest to straight this neck is going to get, and the shave is going to fix it. And I've checked it in all three regions, and they all tend to give me a similar answer. And so, with no further ado, we're going to... So I want to cover some technique. As I'm moving the block along here, I want to hold it as centered as possible, and I don't put a lot of weight on it, hardly any. Just want the block to run along. It'll do its job. And keeping it centered, you know, you don't want it to tilt. It takes a little bit of skill. And I usually just start at the heel and run one direction at first. I just even strokes, not back and forth, because I found that as I change directions, I might wiggle it just ever so little bit, and that can create an issue. The other thing is, I've also found it's important to use a center cradle. It's the least amount of, it's the most natural way to hold the neck and to check the neck. And actually, if you set it on a flat surface, the butt end and the headstock are going to touch, and it actually flexes the neck and changes your answers. Whereas if the guitar neck is held in a cradle position, it's more natural, and it's only touching it in one area, and you'll get consistent answers when you're getting really nitty-gritty like I am. So there's a couple more tips for you. So another thing, I keep going along, and this little stripe that shows along the top that I've ground starts to show up, and I go until I can see it across every fret. And I can see it across most, but it's a little bit weak here and here. And also down here, there's a little divot area that's not quite getting hit. And that tells me that it's not perfect there, and there's no chance of it. So we're going to go a little further until all of them have a consistent stripe all the way across. Okay, so I've done some passes, and the middle is looking really good. But the edges are still sloppy, which means I got to bring the middle down. In some cases, you'll go over it several times, and you'll find that only part of the middle is touching, and then some of the heel, and it's a game of chess. And this is where having done it many times is going to help you out. You've got to be a good critical thinker, and you've got to know where to shave and where not to. Anyway. So I'm going to keep going a little bit. I'm going to take the middle down a little bit so that we can start touching the sides where they need to touch. Other than that, things are looking good, and I'm in no rush, so I'll get after it. Okay, finally got it dialed in. Took the middle down, did a couple chest moves, and now everything is touching everywhere. Just perfect. And I went ahead and got the fall away put in. Basically, you just shave more at the end. And basically you want about 15 to 20 thousandths fall away. And that looks like this. It's about that much room. Anyway, so I've achieved that, and now it's time to move on to the next steps. We got to crown and roll over and bevel and do several things, so that's next. But right now, as it stands, we have leveled and radiused this thing more perfectly than could have been done with the old way. All right. Okay, so during crowning, this fret right here, I just got done crowning, and you can tell the difference between that fret and this fret. So this file is a diamond file with a concave, and it runs along like so. And I've rolled over the edges to start the rounding of the fret end right there. That's kind of what it did look like. This is what it's looking like now. It's perfectly acceptable to use a file like this to do the crowning and just run along until you get the same type of little stripe across the middle. And so I'm going to continue on and finish them all. Okay, I've got them all crowned now down the whole neck. They've got all the little lines taken care of, and I've rounded over all of the fret ends. Now I'm taking this little file and I'm coming in and I'm going around each and every side and taking off that little sharp burr. And I'm going to do that for all of these on both sides. And that's the beginning of creating that spherical fret end. It's tedious, but it's the only way to get it done. And I'd like to say that that's something that a Plek machine is not designed to do. So we are outdoing the Plek. It's a good feeling. All right, bye. Okay, I've got all the little edge nubs done all the way down both sides 100%. And now this is a quarter round file, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to just, you know, work it a little bit more round each and every side all the way down. It's all part of the program. These are going to be killer frets. So, okay, I've got that portion done, and they're starting to shape up. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go back over with the crowning file, and I'm also going to touch up the sides and help blend them with the needle file again for all of them before the next step. Okay, I've got the filing done, and the ends are starting to look pretty nice. They're pretty well rounded. Now comes a more laborious part. This is 320 grit sandpaper, something you can get just about everywhere. And you fold off a little piece like so, and you come in and you sand. And you sand until it looks like that one. It starts out like this. You want to get all that little marking off. And you want to go over the edges and you want to smooth out the file marks. And you want it to be consistently looking like what 320 makes it look like. You also want to use fresh paper each time, so you keep bending this tab back so you have fresh paper. And you're going to use your fingernail and your finger to get all the way down along the sides there. And you're not going to skimp. You're not going to miss any part of the fret. No matter how hard it is, you're going to get it because the end result depends on it. Anyway, here we are. And I'll put it on pause here, and I'll get it done. All right, been busting some tail here, and I wanted to point a few things out. So this is to 320, just like the rest of those, and I have those prepped for the buffing wheel coming up here. Now, in a lot of shops, they do 320, 400, 600. And then steel wool, and that's what that would be. And then here in my shop, I do that, and then I do 1500, 1800, 2400, 3200, 3600, 4000, 6000, 8000, all the way up to 12,000. And there's a noticeable difference in the shine. And sorry, I'm not It's not focusing very well. There we go. Now, as far as shine goes, I'm a firm believer that the more pure the striking surface of the string, the better ring out it's going to get. So I like them to be mirror polish, mirror shine. Not only does it look good, but I think functionally, for tone and playability, that's where it's at. So I'm going to go ahead and buff the rest of these frets, and then we'll compare one more time to see if the hand sanding is actually brighter than the buffing machine. We'll see. All right, this is my buffing wheel here, and this side is for coarse, and this is for fine. And I got this is the fine stuff that goes on here, and this is the rough stuff that goes on here. So I'll go ahead and get that done, and I'll show you the results. Okay, all done with the buffing wheel, and I went ahead and buffed this one as well. Here they all are. Very consistent, very shiny. And I would say the buffed ones might be a hair more shiny. And they didn't take as long. But that's still really good for hand paper. So anyway, time to take the tape off. All right, well, I got the neck done. It turned out beautiful, very gorgeous. These frets are incredible, and because we used the light bar method versus rocker, we know for sure the relationship between fret 1 and the end, and that it's got perfect fall away, perfect radius, and that it's super shiny. So we didn't leave much to chance. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're interested in more stuff that I do, subscribe to my channel. You can also catch me over on Facebook at Stockwell Guitars. I post my day-to-day stuff or just things I find exciting. Anyway, hope you enjoyed yourself. Peace.